Indulge me, if you will, and look at me. What do you see? Make a mental note. We're going to come back to it. I have noticed that I have a thought loop that begins with an expectation and results in a judgment. And this happens to me all the time. Not only is it instantaneous, but it becomes the foundation for how I interact with my current situation and the individuals present. Where does this come from? I believe it comes from our childhood. As young children, we interact with the world really in a simple, straightforward way. We see something that compels us, and we crawl toward it and stick it in our mouth. Are we all that different now? If we like it, it tastes good, it feels good, it smells good, and we receive positive reinforcement, then it becomes a positive expectation. And we judge it as good. If we don't like it, or we're scolded, or even punished, then it becomes a negative expectation, and we judge it as bad. I call this the childhood paradigm. Naturally, it evolves as we grow. And in fact, these likes and dislikes, these expectations, positive and negative, and these judgments of good and bad, evolve. And they become our coping strategies. See, as children, we don't have a lot of control over our reality. Our mother is our mother. We don't get to trade her in. Did anybody get to do that? I love my mom. And I'm the way that I am partly because of my mom. Also my father and his approach to children, family, punishment. My siblings, or perhaps a lack of siblings. Where we grow up is also very important. The town, the city, the country, and its traditions, and its way of seeing what's good and what's bad. Its own positive, negative expectation, judgment loop. In addition, our education, our social experiences, and even our spiritual surroundings influence this coping strategy. They help us to realize what we like, what we don't like, what is good, what is bad, and then bring us to a place where we say, okay, how do I deal with it? Because as children, again, we don't really get to make that choice. And so we deal with it. Not only did we not get to trade in our mom, we don't really get to choose where we live, and we certainly don't get to vote on the politics that are occurring at that time, or whether there's war. And so we develop this means of interacting with the world based on these simple expectation, judgment loops. Let's take a moment and define the word paradigm. A set of assumptions, concepts, values, and practices that constitutes a way of viewing reality. So our childhood paradigm is these simple likes and dislikes this positive and negative expectation, and this good or bad judgment, and the coping strategies that come out of that to deal with the circumstances of our childhood. I see this like an old school canister slide projector. Did you guys have one of those? We had one. I loved it. We'd put up this big sheet, and we'd block like half the room, and then we'd turn off all the lights, and there we'd see our memories projected. And the slide projector would go around, tick, 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 tick. And then suddenly, we'd come to the last slide, and boom, white light, shining. Bringing us suddenly, abruptly, back into the present. But you know what came with it? All those memories. And not just memories from the standpoint of images, from the standpoint of emotions. The way I felt, the way that my brother felt, and how he reacted. The way my mother felt, my father felt. And so suddenly I'm back in this present moment, feeling all of that. And so, what's the present? You see, our childhood paradigm does exactly this. It takes the memories, the experiences that we had as children, and it uses it as a lens to see the world and to see reality. So we project upon everything that's happening. Maybe even we hang up a sheet that's blocking what's right in front of us. And instead of seeing the present moment, we're seeing the past. So rather than interacting with the present, we're reacting with this childhood paradigm of the past. What would happen if we removed the slides or we took down the sheet? Because the truth is, we're not children anymore. And we have a choice. We get to choose now. And yet, how often does that thought loop create that expectation judgment and bring us out of the now? I want to tell you a story. A number of years ago, I had the opportunity to work with at-risk youth in South Central Los Angeles. These kids were 13 to 17 years old and already convicted of a crime. They were in an option school. It means last option. You get kicked out, you don't get to go to school anymore. These kids owed community service time. And generally what that means is that they're going to go clean up trash or paint over graffiti. Well, think about what these children, what their childhood paradigm was, what their reality was that created their present circumstances. And would really cleaning up trash or painting over graffiti change that paradigm? And so an organization called Solid Youth brought together a group of athletes. And these athletes took a group of kids for an 8-week program and took them outside of their normal experiences. They got to go mountain biking, sea kayaking, rock climbing. And once a week they were bused to a beach or a park to do yoga with me. At the end of one of these 8-week programs, we had a really powerful breakthrough with one of the kids. And it came from the very simple idea that we taught, that all of the athletes who were part of Salad Youth worked with. This one idea through 8 weeks, and that was take 3 breaths. That's it, 8 weeks, and we taught them to take 3 breaths. When they were challenged, they're climbing a rock and they're like, we said, take 3 breaths. When they were at the top of that mountain and saw this incredible vista, we said, take 3 breaths. So we were sitting in a group, and this one young man said to me, I had a dream last night that I've had so many times. I was a cleaner. I killed people for a living. And in this dream, I was about to shoot this dude. And I made myself wake up. And then I laid there. And I took 3 breaths. And I realized I didn't have to be a cleaner. I have a choice. I have a future. Indulge me, if you will. Close your eyes. Take 3 breaths. Open your eyes. What do you see? Thank you.